parental involvement is key, is to try to prevent drug use, whether you're educating your children in the effects of drugs, the harms of drugs, or you're just being involved in their social activities. You know where they are, who they're with, and don't be afraid to be the bad guy, really. The problem is that where drugs are concerned, someone is going to be the bad guy. It's much easier for the parent to be the bad guy than me to be the bad guy, or the police officer to be the bad guy. Someone is going to be the bad guy here. And really, parents have to step up and be that bad guy and say, you know what, I don't know who you're hanging out with, you can't go.
I would tell parents, just don't be afraid of your children. They are yours. Don't be afraid to offend them. Don't be afraid to say, hey, here's a cup, pee in it. I just want to make sure everything's going okay. Because that's the biggest thing I see. I think sometimes parents are too afraid of burning at all that relationship. They want to have the best friendship. And I think sometimes parents have to see you're a parent. You're not their best friend. I think parents need to not be afraid to be forceful with their children. It's not a friendship. Say to them, are you making good choices? And talk to them and look them straight in the eye. Because when your kids feel like they're being watched, then they're going to be less likely to go out and make poor choices. They're going to think twice before they do those bad things. And if they feel like they have someone really tight on top of them, at the end of the day, they feel more loved.
I actually interviewed all three of my kids who are 20, 18, and almost 15, and asked them what parents could do to prevent drug abuse. And they said you have to have clear expectations from the very beginning. Middle school, you need to sit down and tell the kids, we find you doing this, or this, and this will happen. Very clear expectation and clear consequences. There was a proverb that I read, you want to dig a well before you get thirsty. And that really means parents are always shocked the first time they find out their kid is either using, drinking, smoking, because they can't believe their baby, who they did, they classroom mom, they did traveling sports. Nobody could do more for this kid that is actually doing this. But if those clear expectations were set up, you tend not to overreact. I think the biggest thing is you have to be a constant obstacle to their drug use. Just be, they're gonna call you crazy. Oh, I love this one. You're ruining my life. If your kid says that to you because you won't let them sleep out, you're ruining my life, then they want to get out so they can use.
The biggest key, I think, that and something that the parents can do is to keep the lines of communication open with their children. Feel free to talk about anything and everything. Let that child express to them their feelings. Know who they're hanging out with, who they're going home with, what party they're going to, if there's going to be adult supervision. There's plenty that parents can do if they just choose to talk to their children more.
The warning signs are different for every kid, but I think you really have to look at your kid and you see a change. And for me, I always tell people moodiness in boys is not normal. Girls are moody, boys shouldn't be moody.
That's the big signs that the American Medical Association talks about as well, changing their behavior, stealing money, changing their appearance as well, changing the group of friends that they're hanging out with. These are the kind of things that parents should watch for. And as soon as they see these things, they need to intervene. Again, be right in their face saying, okay, what's going on? What's happening with you? You've changed.
My son did drugs with some of the best kids at school. The football team, the basketball team, the spirit team, AP kids, IB kids. This idea there are good kids and bad kids has got to stop, has got to stop. These are kids that are using for a reason. Maybe they didn't make the varsity team after their parents have spent years on travel sports and all their friends did. Maybe they broke up with their boyfriend or girlfriend and they're just trying to deal with their pain.
Peer pressure. I really honestly think that most people that start doing drugs and that get into it is because your friends go, oh, you should try this, oh, you should do this. And a lot of people are like, oh, I would never peer pressure you into anything. It's peer pressure just being around it. It's peer pressure to go to a party and see everybody else smoking marijuana and you feel like you kind of have to. And so nobody even has to say anything to you to feel like, well, they're all doing it, I guess I should, I guess I have to. And it's just, it's almost like a silent, you're uncool if you don't do this, because everybody else is doing it, why aren't you? And I've left my friends' houses, I've left people's houses because, you know, they were like, well, we're gonna go do this, and I'm like, no, I'm like, I don't want that. And it's just a matter of standing up and saying, I don't care if I don't look cool to you, I don't care if you think that I'm a nerd because I don't do this. I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna say, this is what's best for me, and this is what is best for my life.
We have no idea what these kids are being exposed to, the pressure they feel to use. It's unbelievable.
Well, first of all, as far as advice that I would give parents in preventing drug use, I think that's the first place that I would try to counsel parents, and that is to be an example to your children. And I see this not only in drug court and criminal court, but also in divorce court, where parents want to continue to live the kind of risky lifestyle that they did before they had children, such as abusing alcohol and drugs, and but they still have that they wanted to have their children too. Children learn by example. If you're really serious about lessening the risk of your children getting into these kind of risky behaviors, you need to refrain from doing that as well. And you do this for your children.
If a child wants to use drugs, I mean, really the only person who can start and the only person who can stop is the child. But you have got to be constantly letting them know it's not permitted and not allowing them to do it. Like I said, just be a constant obstacle.
If you do everything you can do to prevent it, in the end your kids are still going to, like I said, it's like you're still going to make, as a person you're still going to make the choices you want to make, but the more you harp on them about stay off drugs, it's like it's harder to get the ball rolling again once it stopped. Why would you want to get a habit going? Because it's 20 times harder to break it, and it's all the trouble that comes with it is 20 times harder to overcome. If you would have just said no, it's so much easier to say no that first time than it is to have to come back and redo everything you've ever done, regain your respect, and so from a parent standpoint, I would just do as much as you can to prevent it, and if it's already too late, I would just stay, you just gotta stay on their case, I mean, it's like you're gonna seem like you're driving them away, but I mean, if you really love them, you just gotta stay on their case about it and make sure that they understand you're doing it because you see them making bad choices, and you don't want to see them die, really. I mean, it's like you're just killing yourself when you do that stuff.
The other thing to prevent is, just definitely education. That's the biggest thing too. Let them know that it's a slippery slope of drug abuse. It's a slippery slope of using any type of medications. What parents need to hear from an ER doctor is that it's a real problem.
Well, just be aware that drugs are out there, even though you may live in what you would consider to be a safe county, that drugs and alcohol are rampant, even in Forsyth County. And no one is immune. There's no, you may live in a nice neighborhood, but that is not going to be something that you can rely upon to be secure in knowing that your children are safe. It doesn't matter where you live, your children can get into these kind of risky behaviors anytime, any place, and anywhere. And I would highly suggest that you just talk to your children, make sure you have a close relationship with them, and be an example to them, because they're going to use that as they grow older.